Thank you, Nisar. Good morning, everyone. And yes, my angle will be a bit different than Carle's angle. I'm not a commercial manager of a port. I'm more the person who follows our organization is following the European policy that is, of course, of importance to ports. But of course, doing that, we also have to follow what ports are doing and also follow what are the policy challenges and how to link that with port business and see that ports are benefiting to the best of it. Thank you for this invitation. And the aim of this session, or I would say this webinar, is look at the challenges and opportunities. And I think you agree with me that we are in such a challenging period to look forward and to say this will be the future. It is lately more and more difficult to predict what will come in a longer term, and this is quite challenging for ports because ports cannot move in a way their strategies as quickly because it's heavy assets. So I mean they have to plan, they have to finance and adapt, and this is a quite slow process. So this is in itself a challenge in a world that is changing more and more quickly. It's very difficult for ports to adapt, so they cannot make strategies for, let's say, 10 years ahead. But at the moment we have the uncertainty. The uncertainty is a big challenge, and this is the main one is COVID, of course. With the second wave, we do not know when we are at the end of the tunnel. We know that there are some, in the first wave, some economic sectors really rebounded and everything went up again. But we are not sure if you have a second wave, a third wave, maybe what the impact will be. Another uncertainty that we might tend to forget with the overwhelming attention for the pandemic is the uncertainty caused by the Brexit, which until today we do not know what will happen on the 1st of January 2021. We do not know. We know that we are now in a European Union with 27 member states and not 28, but we do not know if there will be an agreement with the UK. We do not know if there will be the WTO tariffs. We do not know. So all the ports that are doing business with the UK, for them it's very challenging. They are getting prepared and have made a lot of investments, but they do not know in which framework we will be on the 1st of January. So this is really a big issue. And then a third maybe, but this very topical, we do not know yet the outcome of the American elections. And you would say there as well, we see for European ports that there might be an impact, certainly in how the trade relations would be in the coming years between the EU and the US, but also on issues like the greening, like sustainability and so on, where we might see a change if Biden is to win or Trump is to win. So that will make a difference. If we look at the COVID, this is from a port's perspective, I think an unprecedented for everyone. It's an unprecedented crisis, but if we look at it from a port's perspective, it's unprecedented because it's global. There is no country in the world that is safe for COVID. And we have a very fragmented supply chain. So as long as the COVID pandemic will have a wave in some part of the world, you will have disruptions and you will have certain issues in the organization of your supply chains. So this might remain for quite some time. The other thing is that it's a health crisis. And whereas, you know, in the European Union, we have most of the policies are European policies. health policies are national and are financed in a national way. And this means that for the first time in decennia, in fact, in decades, in the last decades, we see that borders, internal borders of the Union are being closed, have been closed in spring. Also that there were some hiccups at the borders very soon, and now still they want to solve that by creating a concept of green lanes where the internal borders have to remain open on the main axis between member states. But still we see that in the hinterland connectivity of ports, there are certain hiccups. And this probably in the second wave could restart again. We also see it the whole, of course, because ports are not only freight, but it's also passengers, that there has been a huge impact of all these travel restrictions and so on. So this is an important thing. We also see in the commodities that there have been quite some protectionist measures in different member states on certain food products, so not only medical products. A good thing, and there is always a good thing, and even how painful this crisis is that in Europe and with European policymakers, they have realized how important ports are for keeping operational, for keeping the economy going, for providing citizens with essential goods, with material, with medical. So this is something that ports and supply chains have been getting a bit out of the unknown. People assumed it for granted that everything they have, that it comes into their house, that it is in the shops, and they did not realize that in such a period this could be hampered. And also there we have seen that ports have played their role. They all have contingency plans, they all adapted and were very agile and are still today to find solutions for certain upcoming problems and change that. So now, as I said, we do not know the end of the tunnel for this, of this crisis. And we also do not know, for instance, if the classical way how ports rebounds quickly after a crisis, if this will happen as well. When we had the financial crisis in 2008, 2009, 10, the economy went down 4% and the ports went down 12%. So they are really always hit very severely. But then the year after, the economy went up 2% in Europe and the ports went up 6%. So this proves that they are hit in a very severely and very quickly, but that ports can also rebound quickly. So we will have to see if that is the case again. And then just quickly, if we look at the challenges, because you have COVID, but all the other challenges are there. There were three big trends or three big movements that we can identify before the crisis. And I believe these trends are still there. This is the greening and the climate. It was also mentioned by Carles. Then we saw the first cracks in the open trade philosophy, in the globalization, international relations, and digitalization. And I believe that these three trends are still there and are maybe being accelerated. On climate change and sustainability, we for some time it was feared that this would be put on hold because of the crisis, also of course the economic crisis and the more limited incomes for all the stakeholders to go into this greening process. But we have there the policy that has reacted in Europe by putting in place a big recovery plan, which is a green recovery plan. So all the recovery money, most of the recovery money that will be given by Europe will go to projects that tick the box of greening, of sustainability. So that is very important. it will be a very important condition for getting this support of Europe. So that in itself will help to boost and to continue the process of decarbonization, of having this Green Deal ambition of making Europe the first climate neutral continent. So this is a very important one. Then this, of course, will be a big game changer. It means the greening of shipping. With all the investments that have to be made both on the ship side and on the port side. But it will also mean that ports will have new opportunities of developing a role and in the supply, the import, and even the production sometimes of renewable energy. So the conventional, we have the ports in Europe that are very important for conventional energy, but they are all ports in Europe are also now looking to develop a role in these renewable energies. And so this will be important. It will also, for instance, we will have to look at new modes of transport. For instance, pipelines will also play a role in that. But we have all the offshore energies and so on. So there is a possibility for ports to develop a business case. Also, if you look, for instance, at circular economy, this is also a strategy that is being developed in different ports in Europe. But what will be important in the whole Green Deal, and this whole greening, is that we do not have time to waste, but there is no money to waste. With the severe economic crisis we are facing, it will be very important to find effective solutions. The second thing that I set the challenge, and I go very quickly because time is limited, is this open trade. We have seen these cracks, and we have seen an upcoming protectionism. We see it, for instance, in the relations also US-China, the WTO, who is in crisis, Brexit in Europe. So this, and also with COVID, I have seen even this protectionism going up a bit. But there as well, we have a response of the European Union, who is now talking of looking at a new way of approaching trade. And they talk about open strategic autonomy. So they want to remain defenders of open trade. But at the same time, they have seen that with the COVID, that it's important to look at some strategic sectors and to see that there is the resilience is there, and that if we are depending in Europe of a few countries for the provision of some essential raw materials, that this can become dangerous. So now Europe wants to be more independent, has some more autonomy, and see if for certain essential productions there can be a strategic reserve in Europe, or even create new links, new connectivities with new suppliers of raw materials. So this is a very important development, a very important strategy that they want to set out, which also there can provide some possibilities for ports as a location for the strategic production, strategic reserves. At the same time, we also see that the Europe wants to think about a carbon border adjustment mechanism, which would be a kind of taxation for products that are not made climate proof as they have to be made in Europe. This could be a game changer in some trade relations. It is still not a concrete plan, but the Commission is working on that. So there we will have to see how it goes. The final, and this here I'll end, is on the digitalisation. So the third trend. This was, of course, going on and remains very important. But also here, we believe that the COVID pandemic has been an accelerator. It is clear that we saw digitalization as a tool for sustainability, for more efficiency, for having more safety and security and transparency as well in the ports. But now it has proven to be also a tool for containing the virus with the contactless transport. And we have seen that some paper procedures, which were really there for ages and very difficult to move into digital paperless, that there an acceleration has been going on, for instance, in customs. And so that now we hope that this movement is not a temporary one, but will be used in the longer run. But we also see that there are some trends in e-commerce. E-commerce has also had a steep increase. We see that this could also change the how ports are developing. Also ports, for instance, the big urban ports will probably be also there more storage capacity for doing this e-commerce and for supplying, in fact, the urban shoppers in a way. So this is in a nutshell what I see for the Europe sports as big trends also linked to policy. What will be important is, as I said, that the ports have to be agile and react very quickly, and they need a flexible policy for that, because otherwise they cannot respond to these quickly changing realities, and this will be essential. And we in ESPO and the European Seaports Organization, we have to convey this message to the policymakers, not to make the framework for ports too strict, so that they can play their role and adapt and be resilient in this quickly changing world. So I would leave it here.